Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. So this is Chapter 2, I think, Watanagashi is what this one's called. And before we get started, I do want to do a few things that I thought of recently. One is that there's currently a thing going on right now with Manga Gamer and Humble Bundle, where you can actually get the entirety of Higurashi if you pay the top tier, the $10 or more. And you get all 5 chapters, which I went and bought. The rest of the games don't seem terribly interesting, unless you're into that, I guess. But you do get the entirety of Higurashi, which is a pretty good deal. And as far as I know, there's still about, at the time of recording, about 12 days left that you can do this. So I would recommend picking that up if you're interested but haven't gotten it, because the $10 to get all of them is a little bit more than the price of like a single chapter, I think. So you could save some money doing that. The other thing is, someone asked me about the patch I was using, and I couldn't remember at the time, but since I had to go and patch this one, I did want to show where I got it from. I got it from GitHub here, and I ended up going to installing the patch, over to getting started, and then the voice and graphics patch is what I went with. In this case, Chapter 2. And there's an installer that I've been using, which actually, you tell it where your directory's at, like where Steam installed Higurashi at, and it'll automatically patch it for you. My antivirus program did think it was a virus, and to be fair, it probably could have been, but I don't think GitHub necessarily is going to have a virus on it, but it is still a possibility. I had to turn off my antivirus to get it to go through. I also had to download it through Internet Explorer because Chrome wouldn't let me do it. So just little things to keep in mind. And we are about to get started here, although I did forget something, so let me get to that really quick, and then we'll get started in just a moment. Hey guys, welcome back. Got that finished up. One thing I wanted to add really quick is, because we're on a new chapter, I do need a new thumbnail. So if anyone's got a good, very spoiler-free to spoiler-light thumbnail, that would be super great. The one I ended up using for last chapter was really good because it was intriguing, but not exactly spoilerish in what it entailed. And I liked that a lot, actually. So if anyone's got anything similar to that, feel free to link it to me. I'd love it. And as I've said a couple times, I've gotten quite busy recently, so expect a couple shorter episodes. That might happen, and if I find a decent stopping spot, I may stop, before like a end of chapter, end of scene thing, if I find a decent spot, just to save some time. So, that was a lot of ado. Let's get started. How is your taste of life in Hinamizawa? A curse or a conspiracy? I believe you fully enjoyed everything and everyone seeming suspicious. True enough. Here at last. It is no surprise attack, but a real direct incident. Please enjoy it. The difficulty is lower than Onikakushi, but extremely vicious. What does that mean, extremely vicious? Like more blood? Laughing children noises. I will not quench your thirst, for you seek the truth and cannot accept that. I will not quench your thirst, for the truth you desire does not exist. But I still want to quench your thirst, for I am the one who cast you into the desert. Frederica... Frederica? Burn, Castile! The chirping of birds served as my alarm clock. Oh, we're alive! Huh? Wasn't today Sunday? Wasn't it basically my style to stay up late on Saturday and sleep through the morning on Sunday? Why was I waking up at this disgustingly wholesome hour? Back to sleep, back to sleep. Disgustingly wholesome. That's a beautiful way of phrasing that. Disgustingly wholesome, I love it. At that moment, the sound of my mother calling me from downstairs finally registered. Phone call? I sprang up out of bed abruptly and stampeded noisily down the stairs. He's awake. I'll put him on right now, my mother informed the person on the other end of the line. Moshi moshi. Moshi moshi. Ore. Dochira sama? This audio is kind of weird. You know, did I change? I changed the volume at some point, didn't I? I think I did. Oh, that was... Oh, now I can't remember. What was it? I made that revelation at some point, but I forgot. Is the voice tied to the background or the sound? Or maybe it was independent. I can't remember. We're gonna have to try again because I totally forgot. I think it might be tied into the background. It was 11 o'clock. I guess you could loosely consider that the middle of the day. Guten Morgen. Everybody? Did she mean all the club members? This music is still too loud. Hold on. One last test and we're gonna find out if I can still hear voices. Okay, so yeah. I'm thinking I remember it right. I think the voice channel is like entirely independent from background music. Hey, hey. あらゆる環境に対応して最善手を模索するのが我が部の趣旨だもんな。つまり休日だろうとお構いなしってわけだ。おお、ケイちゃんも我が部のことが分かってきたね。でさ、これさ。I had absolutely nothing planned that day. If I were to refuse Club President Mion's invitation, what other fun ways to pass the time would I have? 別に予定なんかねえし、嫌だって言ったら不先輩扱いでどんな罰ゲームを課せられるやら。そこまで分かってるなら断れないよね。もし OK ならいつもの待ち合わせ場所に1時集合。街へ行くから自転車で来てね。Club activities in town? Well, we could do them anywhere. Besides, since it was a new venue, there's no way this wasn't going to be intense. A couple of days ago was Friday's club activities. That uncompromising poker match. It was a fight to the death. Nobody held back. Nobody could tell who was in the lead or who was last until all the points were tallied. In the end, I won by only one chip. Mion came in second. Dang it. To think if I hadn't squandered that one chip. Mion lamented thus, perhaps more so than the fact she lost the match. Mion doesn't lose. That's why Mion only whined when she let the champion's throne slip through her fingers. That's why she was more frustrated than anyone over a close loss. So, did she mean for today to be a grudge match?
上等だ。おととい同様、一気に畳んで罰ゲームさせてやるぜ。せいぜい自分がやらされても辛くない内容にしとくんだな。
そうこなくちゃ。潰しがいがないもんね。
After that, we exchanged jeers for a bit before hanging up the phone. As I headed back upstairs hastily to get the key to my bike, I bumped into my mother as she was carrying a futon down.
あら、ケイチ。上機嫌みたいね。お出かけ？
そんなとこ。俺、みんなと街に遊びに行ってくるから。
行ってらっしゃい。車に気をつけるのよ。夕飯までには帰ってくるのよ。
へいへい、ちゃんと帰ってくるって。
This almost sounds like, I mean, obviously, based upon what I know from Ubineko, you know, this is just like an alternate timeline, you know, a different story. And, you know, the same setting, but some things have been changed here or there to make the story flow differently. You know, and it kind of feels like the mood that we had, maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks or something, before the game ended last time. Where everyone was still cordial with each other and Keiichi didn't care about the Oyashiro-sama killing people thing. You know, just happy fun games, exactly where Keiichi wanted to go back to. After unlocking the chain from my bike in the garage, I reveled a bit in the resistance the slightly stiff pedal gave as I pushed on it. Alright, let's go! I set off on my bike, cutting through the refreshing morning air. Isn't it nice when everyone isn't trying to kill you?
ああ、待たせたな。あれ、サトコとリカちゃんは？
あの二人はここで待ち合わせるより直接街で合流した方が早いよ。
Oh, I see. If I remember correctly, Satoko and Rika-chan's houses were on the other side, past the school.
そうそう。街で部活ってどういうことだよ。まさか。みんなで覆面をして日が暮れるまでにいくつ銀行
How did you know, Keiichi?
じゃねえだろうな。
Nervous laughter.
別にそれでもいいけど、それでも私は負けないけどね。
みーちゃんってね、なぜか現金輸送車の順路とか時間とかをいつもレナに教えてくれるんだよ。
Excuse me?
なんでだろうね、なんでだろうね。
What? I spun around with a serious look on my face and looked at Mion. Well, it certainly seemed possible that Mion was capable of doing that.
マジかよ、ミオン。
レナー、まだ何言ってんの？
みーちゃんごめんね、みーちゃんごめんね。
The two of them joked around. That bright laughter was the best match for a beautiful day like today.
おい、二人とも。サトコとリカちゃんが先に待ってるんだろ。じゃれてないで早く行こうぜ。
Around and around, fooling around like two fluttering butterflies. I earnestly wish I could just keep watching them like this. But the five of us together would be absolutely more fun.
そうだね。じゃあ行こうか。
目標は10億強奪。山分けしたらみんなで高飛びだぜ。
And they went to jail shortly after. The end. The three of us on our bikes headed over the gently sloping hill towards town. Accelerating hard, we crested the hill. The view expanded as Okinomiya Station came into sight. I occasionally come to the station here. Considering the amount of effort it takes to get here, though, it was quite a hassle. That's why I didn't know much about the area around the station, or Okinomiya itself for that matter. The street we were headed down today was, of course, unfamiliar to me as well. Going through the railway crossing, we headed past the south end of the station.
こっち側は来るの初めてだな。
こっちにはね、ゲームセンターとかおもちゃ屋さんとかがいろいろあるの。みーちゃんが詳しいよ。
ゲーセンもあるのか。俺、前は結構通ってたからな。ゲーマーの血がうずくぜ。
ゲーセン通いなんてケイちゃん不良だね。今度来た時に案内してあげるよ。結構台数を揃えたいい店があるから。
It seemed like the town of Okinomiya was Mion's stomping grounds. If I asked her, she could tell me a lot of things about it. Eventually, we came across the store with quite a few bikes parked in front of it. Was this the arcade? No, it was a smaller shop. Looking at the window display, it seemed like your everyday toy shop. But for almost 10 kids to be filing in and out of the store, they were doing almost too well for themselves.
ひょっとしてあの店で今日何かイベントでもあるのか。
その通り。優勝賞金は5万円。
5万円？なんだよそれ。ケイチ王国の5年分の GNP に匹敵するぞ。
The People's Republic of Keiichi. Two cute figures messing about with the front of the store noticed us and waved their hands.
皆様方。
I'm really enjoying these background pictures, by the way. They're quite interesting.
お待ちしてましたよ。おはようございますなのです。
おはようリカちゃん。さあとこ、警察が来る前にケリをつけるぞ。目標は10億強奪だ。
ケイイチさんの話がわかりませんわ。遅くなったかな。リカちゃんたちは今来たの？今日は早く終わったのでだいぶ待ってましたですよ。
そりゃあ悪いことしたわ。こっちはケイちゃんがなかなか来なくてさ。
ケイイチでは仕方ありませんですよ。
Saying that, Rika-chan stretched up and began patting Mion's head. Hey, wait a minute. Are you solving everything by making me the bad guy?
もちろん、ケイイチさんでなくては務まらない大役でしたよ。
実に嫌な大役だな。こんなので丸く収まると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
I was feeling slightly irritated, so I began to repeatedly smack Satoko on the head. Smack, 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 smack.
ケイイチさんがぶった。ケイイチにいじめられてかわいそうですよ。さとこちゃん泣いてる。お持ち帰り。
There's the Ren I was looking for.
悪い人はレナお姉ちゃんがやっつけてあげるからね。
Although we're about to get punched. Yep, there we go. Wham! Rena ecstatically wiped the tears, which were probably fake, from Satoko's face, while Rika-chan gently patted mine as I lay sprawled on the ground. Yes, this is fine.
やっぱりこれが正しい丸い収め方だよな。
Look at that poster with the cars. Is there a bird on the front of that pickup truck?
前歯が欠ける前に新しいオチを探した方がいいと思うけどね。
Well then, upsy daisy. In any case, the greeting for today went well. Inside the toy shop, there were about 10 boys around the same age as me. Apparently, they all knew Mion, and finding out that she had arrived, they greeted her with jeers, a few at a time.
みーちゃんはこのおもちゃ屋さんの常連なの。だから友達もすっごく多いの。
おもちゃ屋の常連って何なんだ？
ほらケイイチさん、奥をご覧なさいませ。
Following Satoko's prompting, I took a look. There were chairs lined up at tables, almost like some sort of birthday party. I realized it immediately.
まさかこれって部活の会場なのか？
驚いたかい、ケイちゃん。私この店のおじさんと仲良しでね。たまに客寄せイベントってことでゲーム大会を開かせてもらってるんだよ。
Expand his customer base. I see. Meaning all the boys livening up the place were participants?
そうなの。いつもは5人だけど、今日はもっともっと大勢での部活なんだよ。
Rina was innocently happy about being able to play with so many people, but my expression grew noticeably stern.
ケイチさんの考えてること、手に取るように分かりましたよ。
ほう。じゃあ試しに行ってみようか。言うぞ。せーの。
These are all enemies! Satoku's voice and mine blended together in harmony. We looked over at the participants. After all, the top price was 50,000 yen. My eyes lit up like a flame.
ね、ケイちゃん。今日は楽しめそうでしょ？
まあな。ライバルが何人増えようが狙うものに変わりはないさ。
ライバル？はあ、ケイちゃん。クジラが水を飲むとき、今飲んだ水の中に何匹シラスが混じっていたか、いちいち数えてると思う？
She said that in an unpleasant voice, laughing with the aggressive glint in her eyes reserved solely for club activities. Dang it, Mion! She's as serious as she can get today.
本気なのは私だけじゃないよ。ほら、リカちゃんを見てごらんよ。
Mion pointed, looking at where her finger directed me.
なんだありゃ。
Rika-chan was using those kind of tactics, or traits, sorry, to soften up the group with an almost excessive pleasantness.
僕も頑張るのですよ。ファイト、王なのです。
Fighto! Fighto! Completely emasculated, the group joined Rika-chan in a cheer. The inside of the store had been consumed by the world of Rika-chan. Dang, she's already chomping at the bit.
今日は楽しみそうだね。頑張るよ。はう。
It seemed that Rina was also unusually fired up by the large crowd. Hopping about and running around, she had entered entirely into cute mode. I think the music might be a little too low now. You know? Just a tiny bit. Let's try that. In Rina's case, the real fun starts when her tension gauge fills up. Her happy-go-lucky attitude belied the fact that this was the state in which she was the most threatening. Mion was making small talk with some of the regular customers she was acquainted with. It was like business as usual with her. Of course, if anyone thought that Mion looked ordinary, they were not qualified to be in our club. The shadow beneath her feet was exuding killer instinct, rising up like a chill wind.
ミオンめ、恥も外聞も捨てるくらいに本気だな。
ケイチさん知らないんですか？賞金の5万円、ミオンさんの自腹でしたよ。
What? She was putting out the 50,000 yen? All by herself? At that moment, a dark miasmata that warped Mion's surroundings began to appear. Or miasma, sorry. Ignore that.
何？ケイちゃん。私の顔に何かついてる？
Didn't expect to be hearing spooky noises again. A shiver crept up my spine. That Mion, cornering herself like that, she was pulling out the demon lurking within her. Fine with me. Dang it, my knees are shaking like crazy. Before I realized it, the store had filled up with even more people. However, the looks in their eyes weren't confrontational. They were looks of expectation and curiosity. They were the eyes of onlookers who were wondering what kind of match was going to occur, and who was going to win.
最高の舞台じゃねえか。面白くなってきやがったぜ。
ケイチ君、頑張ろうね。頑張ろうね。
Rinna was already fully charged. Mortal laws and common sense held no power before the might of Rinna in her cute mode. I definitely didn't want to fight her, if possible.
リカちゃん、頑張れ！僕たちも応援してるよ！
はい、頑張りますですよ。
Rika-chan, who is exuding way too much charm no matter how you looked at it, had already won over most of the onlookers to her side. Nonchalantly avoiding things had always been Rika-chan's creed, but for her to be blatantly laying out her machinations like this, something was definitely strange. Have you guys noticed that the word machinations has popped up quite a lot in this story? Like, more than the average conversation? I like the word, I do, I like it a lot, but I've just been sitting here, I'm like, I think that's like the third time I've said machinations in this series so far. Like Rinna, she was somebody who I didn't want to fight if I could help it.
もちろん一番戦いたくないのはミオンさんですけどね。
何度か部活で奴と視線をくぐったが、今日ほどヤバいと思う日はないぜ。
ミオンさん、一昨日のポーカーで負けたの相当根に持ってるみたいでしたよ。
らしいな。つまり今日はミオンの復讐のための特設部隊ってわけだ。
Almost as though she were psychic, Mion turned towards us. Her eyes silently conveyed the message. You guys just figure that out now? It wasn't just Mion. Both Rinna and Rika-chan were more pumped up than they'd ever been. Yeah. One's gonna pop up today. Without a doubt, there'll be casualties.
私とケイチさんがなんとなく置いてきぼりですわね。いかがでございましょう。なんでしたらスマートに初戦をお手合わせ願えませんかしら。
そうしよっか。俺もエンジンがかかるまで鳴らしようし。
Spooky noises again. My spinal column shuddered like it had been struck by a bolt of lightning, and like a pillar of ice was being jammed into it, began to freeze. I could almost see the flames backlighting Satoko with their intensity. Even then, while Satoko was displaying a normal smile, it was cold and inhuman, almost as if it were a plastic mask.
へっ、そんなに俺を初戦で消したいかよ。殺気が隠せてないぜ。
あら、残念ですわね。ケイチさんにしてはなかなか慎重でしたよ。
Without a doubt, it was a trap. I don't know what she had up her sleeve, but if I fought with Satoko during the opening round, my loss would be more certain than if I went against Mion. A pitch-black miasma permeated inside the store. Did they all want to win that 50,000 yen prize that much? Pretty sure they do. Isn't that like, isn't like the rough equivalency being like yen is like pennies? So isn't that like 500 yen? Like roughly? Plus if you count in inflation, that's probably worth like an awful lot of money. Just saying. In fact, we're gonna look that up really quick. Okay, so my calculations were a little off, but it's like a rough estimate, so that's what yen is to US dollars as of right now. And apparently the inflation turns into about 62,000 yen, which is a little over $500. So that's still a lot of money. Especially for a kid, I would say. No, that's not right. The only ones competing for the prize money were the casual participants. I was different. I had mistaken this as just a way to fool around on a normal Sunday. It didn't matter when it was, or where it was, or who our opponents were. In our club, the goal is always the very top of the mountain. An intense flame that no strong winds could extinguish, hot enough to melt any steel, began to burn inside me. The fuse had been lit on this unprecedentedly intense club battle. It was then that the owner of the store told Mion, in a lackadaisical voice, that it was about time to begin. Mion began with the formalities, standing in for the owner and explained the rules of today's tournament. You're only playing to win. There's no second or third place. That's the same rule as our club. There were 15 people participating. We were to split up into 5 groups via draw, and each group would have one winner. Each winner in the first stage would advance into the next in order to compete in the final.
さて、各卓の競技方法なんだけど、これは各卓で好きに決めていいよ。このお店にあるゲームなら何を使っても OK。
Already in club mode DEFCON 1, I didn't let the small gap in the rules go unnoticed.
ミオン、質問いいか？みんな自分の得意ゲームを主張して決まらないんじゃねえのか？
そうだね。決まらないと始められないね。
The spectators also nodded along. It was only natural. There wasn't anybody who would simply cede to their opponent's suggestion.
紳士的に決めてほしいけど、そういう時は店のマスターが決めるってのでいい？
It was an event at a toy store after all. You'd expect the owner to referee. After that, Mion's rundown continued. It ended with the rule that any losing participants would have to buy the game they lost at. A rather nice proposition for the store. First, we use a draw to split into 5 groups. Everybody lined up single file, and began to draw tickets that the shop owner had prepared. It was my turn. Alright, time to draw. No matter who I was up against, I'd crush him. At that moment, Mion began to laugh with a hawkish gleam in her eye.
当然わかってると思うけど、部活メンバーには一般参加者とは別に罰ゲームがつくからね。
そんなことだろうと思ったぜ。内容はなんだ？
勝者が敗者一人一人に1個命令。
Contrary to how simple it sounded, it was a terrifying eventuality, the subject of which no one could predict. Dang it, Mion. Was she really planning on parading me around Hinamizawa in cat ears and a banana hammock with a tail attached to something? The look on Mion's face told me she wasn't going to let me off that easy. On top of that, this time, it wasn't just the person who'd finished last who'd have to submit to the penalty game.
敗者一人一人に命令。つまり、ビリでなくても罰ゲームってことだな。
そういうこと。
勝者がない場合は、部活メンバーが全員途中で脱落したらお流れか？
ケイちゃん、のび太は元気？
何？
The look in Mion's eyes became that of a lion bearing its fangs.
我が部の再生映画、どう間違ったらこんなひよこども相手に負けるっての？ケイちゃん、初戦で消えて、私に恥かかさないでよ。
Even so, I didn't feel threatened. The more into it my opponent was, the stronger I would become.
見てろ。ただミオンにいじめられてたわけじゃないってことを見せてやるぜ。
会おうね。決勝で。
The results of the draw were enough to make you cry conspiracy. All of the members of the club were nicely divvied up among the 5 tables. How did this happen when the draw was that random? The thought that I was already caught up in Mion's puppet strings made me feel uneasy. That was fine, though. I'll crush all your petty tricks. Yeah, I think we'll stop there. If you consider the fact that I'm also releasing the final thoughts and the all cast review, something like that, at the same time, it's about an hour, a little over an hour of upload for today, so I think it's enough. We'll pick up here next time, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!